All right, back at it again. So next way to solve a system of equations is by what's called substitution, okay? If we're talking about why there's all these, there's three methods at least to solve systems of equations. Graphing is usually used when the y is already by itself. If the y is by itself in both equations, that's in a graphable form. You might choose to use graphing then. Substitution is when maybe only one equation has a y by itself or any letter by itself. Now, on a test or quiz, I will make you do each of the three ways by forcing you to use a way by the directions. Like if on a test I say solve this by graphing, then you have to graph it or you won't get any points. But if I leave it up to you, if I just say solve the system, then you can use any method that you want, okay? Substitution would be good when there is maybe only one equation that has a variable by itself. So substitution, like what's on your screen here, is another way of solving a system of equations. In substitution, you must get one variable by itself in one of the equations, or maybe it already is by itself in one of the equations. And then you're going to substitute or plug that into the other equation. This is very important. You have to plug it into the other equation. You never want to plug an equation back into itself, okay? So whatever equation has a letter by itself, you then want to plug into the other equation. All right, well, let's start kind of simple here, okay? Now, if I was doing number one, I might choose to graph it really if it was by free choice, okay? But if I tell you do substitution, you have to. So as I look here, this equation right here tells me that y is equal or exactly the same as 2x plus 10. Y and 2x plus 10 are the exact same thing. So I can take 2x plus 10 and substitute it into y into the other equation. So instead of y in this top equation, I've now substituted in what is exactly the same or equal to y, which is 2x plus 10. And now I rewrite what's left in this equation is equal to 4x minus 8. All right, now it's just all about how good are you with your equation solving skills, okay? Our equation solving steps tells me step one is to distribute. There's nothing to distribute here. Step two is to combine like terms on each side of the equal sign. There's no like terms on the left. There's no like terms on the right. Step three says to get all my variables on one side. So I'm going to minus 2x here to the other side. Now I have 10 equals 4x minus 2x is 2x minus 8. All right, and now I'm down to a two-step plus 8. I have 18 equals 2x, divide by 2, and 9 equals x. So my answer is currently 9, 9 was an x value, so I put in the x slot. Remember, really, this is just the xy combination that makes both equations true. It's also the point where these two lines would cross each other on a graph. All right, now to solve for y, I'm just going to plug 9 into either of the original equations for x and solve for y. I'm going to choose to use the bottom one just because that's what I feel like doing. You could use the top one and get the same answer. So y is equal to 2 times, we now know that x is 9 plus 10. Okay, well, 2 times 9 is 18 plus 10 means that y is equal to 28. 9, 28. Okay, and all of these would be very similar to that. Okay, same exact situation, but the equations look a little bit different. Now I'm here. See how in these now we already have one letter that's by itself, okay? If you don't have a letter that's by itself, you just have to get it by itself, all right, using your equation. Announcement. Thank you. Sorry, they just came over the announcements at school when us teachers are just here. Now, again, what I was saying was, notice that in each one of these examples, there is an equation that has a letter by itself. If you have to use substitution, you don't yet have a letter by itself, then you just have to manipulate one of the equations to get a letter by itself. All right, we'll do 2 of these for you, and then we'll be done. So this equation is telling me that y is exactly equal to x minus 2. So I'm going to take x minus 2 and plug it in for y into the other equation. Now, when I do that, I'm going to have to use a parenthesis. Okay, so what I've got here is I've got 2x plus 2. Now, instead of y, I'm going to substitute in what y equals, which is x minus 2. is equal to 4. And I'm just going to use my equation solving skills. Step 1 says to distribute. So I've got 2x plus 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4 equals 4. Step 2 says to combine like terms. 2x plus 2x is 4x minus 4 equals 4. And now I'm down to a 2-step here, plus 4. 4x equals 8. So when I divide by 4, x equals 2. So my answer is 2, comma something. I always want your answer to be in this this form of a coordinate. Okay. Now I'm going to solve for y. Now, if I want to know what y equals, to me it makes sense to go to the equation that says y equals. So y equals x, which you know to be 2, minus 2. So y is 0. 2 comma 0. All right, it's easiest for me to clear my screen if I just back out of this presentation for a second. So I'm going to, if you need to pause the video now to go over that, go ahead. Now I'm going right back in and then my screen's blank. So sorry that I got to do that, but that's the easiest way I know how to do this. Okay, why don't we do this bottom one now? Again, I know that y is equal to negative 6x plus 34. So I'm going to take negative 6x plus 34. I'm going to plug it in for y into the other equation. So I've got 3x minus 6. Instead of y, I write what y equals negative 6x plus 34. And that's equal to 30. Step 1 of solving an equation tells me to distribute. Now notice I'm distributing a negative 6x. You got to keep track of your negative signs. 3x. Negative 6 times negative 6 is positive 36. Negative 6 times positive 34. Uh-oh. Hold on. I'm getting my calculator on my phone out. Is negative 204. And that's equal to 30. So combine like terms. 3x plus 36x is 39x minus 204 equals 30. I add my 204. 39x equals 234. I divide by 39. Got to get my calculator back out here. X equals, what's 234? 234 divided by 39 is 6. Back to a whole number. That's always great. So my answer is 6 comma. Now be careful. Like I keep solving for x first, so it's going in the x slot. Sometimes you might solve for y first, and then you'd have to make sure that you put that in the y slot of your answer. Now again, if I want to know what y equals, to me it makes common sense to go to the equation that says y equals. So y equals negative 6 times, I know x now to be 6, plus 34. So that's y equals negative 6 times 6 is negative 36 plus 34. So y is negative 2. Okay. All right. There's a couple special case ones that we might go over in class when you guys run into them. So when you run into something that ends up looking a little messy, just ask me a question tomorrow in class. We can all do it together. All right. See you in class.